I was driving alone late at night, heading back home after visiting a friend in another state. The drive was supposed to take around 6 hours, but I left later than planned. By the time I reached the long stretch of highway that cut through open land, it was well past midnight. The road was almost completely empty. No streetlights. No houses. Just endless asphalt, dark fields on either side, and the faint glow of my headlights pushing into the night. I turned the radio on low, more for company than entertainment. About an hour in, I noticed headlights behind me. At first, it didn't register as anything unusual. Cars appear and disappear on highways all the time. But after several miles, the headlights were still there. Same distance. Same position, not gaining, not falling back. I changed lanes. The car behind me changed lanes too. I sped up slightly, then slowed down. The headlights adjusted perfectly, as if matched to my movements. I told myself the driver was probably just on cruise control, headed the same direction. Still, the feeling didn't leave. The road curved gently, and for a brief moment, the headlights disappeared behind a hill. Relief washed over me. I assumed they had taken an exit or slowed down, then they reappeared. Closer this time, I checked my mirrors carefully. The car's headlights were dim, older, slightly yellowed. I couldn't see the body of the vehicle. Oh, just the lights, floating in the darkness behind me. After another 10 minutes, I passed an exit sign. I decided to test something. I signaled and took the exit. The road off the highway was narrow and unlit, leading toward what looked like farmland. As soon as I slowed down the ramp, the headlights followed, my chest tightened. I turned onto a smaller road. So did they. I told myself to stay calm. Maybe the driver lived nearby. Maybe this was coincidence layered on top of fatigue. Still, I locked my doors without thinking. The road stretched on, with no houses, no lights, no signs. The headlights behind me stayed at the same exact distance, steady and patient. I pulled over. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I wanted confirmation that I was imagining things. Maybe I wanted it to stop. I eased onto the shoulder and came to a full stop. The car behind me stopped too. The headlights stayed on. Neither of us moved. I waited, hands gripping the steering wheel, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. After nearly a minute, I put the car back into drive and pulled forward. The car behind me did the same. That's when I noticed something that made my skin crawl. Their headlights didn't reflect any light back onto the road signs ahead. No glow, no spill, just two dull orbs hovering in place. I accelerated hard, pushing well above the speed limit. My car shook slightly as the road blurred beneath me. The headlights kept pace effortlessly. No engine sound. No revving. Just silent pursuit. I finally reached a small town, lights appearing suddenly like a lifeline. As I passed the first building, I glanced in my mirror. The headlights were gone. They didn't turn off. They didn't turn away. They simply weren't there anymore. I pulled into a gas station and sat in my car for a long time, breathing slowly, watching the road. No car passed. No headlights appeared. I made it home just before dawn. Weeks later, while cleaning my windshield, I noticed something strange on the back of my car. Handprints, smudged faintly into the dust near the trunk. Too high to be mine. Too wide to be normal. I don't drive that road anymore. And I never pull over at night. I was on a cross-country drive, cutting through a part of the state I had never been through before. It was one of those long, empty routes where the GPS keeps reassuring you that everything is fine, even when the road ahead looks like it hasn't been used in years. It was close to 2 a.m. when the low fuel warning came on. I wasn't panicking yet, but I was paying attention. According to my GPS, there was a town about 20 miles ahead. I slowed down a little, turned the radio off, and focused on the road. The darkness felt heavier out there, pressing in from both sides. 10 minutes later, my GPS recalculated. The town was gone. The screen now showed nothing but a thin gray line stretching forward, surrounded by blank space. No names, no icons, no points of interest. I assumed the signal had dropped and kept driving. That's when I saw the gas station. It appeared suddenly, its lights glowing too brightly against the darkness. A single pump stood out front, and a small building sat behind it, windows lit but strangely dim at the same time. No other cars were parked there, no sign with a name, It's just a red neon word flickering weakly. Open. Relieved, I pulled in. As soon as I stopped the car, the feeling hit me. The silence was wrong. No hum from the lights, no distant highway noise. Even the sound of my engine shutting off felt like it was swallowed immediately. I stepped out and looked around. Air was still and cold, carrying a faint smell of gasoline and something sour beneath it. The pump looked old, the numbers faded and scratched, but the hose felt solid when I lifted it. I glanced at the building. Someone was standing inside, behind the counter. They didn't move. They just stood there, facing forward, their shape blurred by the dirty glass. I raised a hand in a small wave. No response. Started pumping gas. The machine didn't make a sound, but the numbers began to roll anyway. Too fast. Faster than normal. I kept my eyes on the display, uneasy. When I looked back up, the person inside was closer to the window. I could see their face now, pale and stretched, eyes open too wide. They weren't blinking. They were smiling, but not at me. It felt like they were smiling at the car. I finished pumping and quickly replaced the nozzle. My heart was racing as I walked toward the building to pay. The door opened before I touched it. The person stood just inside. Up close, something was clearly wrong. Their skin looked dry, almost cracked, like it hadn't seen moisture in a long time. Their clothes were outdated, stiff, and hung loosely on their frame. "You're late," they said. "I'm just passing through," I replied, my voice unsteady. They nodded slowly. "They usually are. I paid in cash. They didn't count it. They didn't even look at it. They just slid it into a drawer that was already open, already full." As I turned to leave, I noticed something on the wall behind the counter. A map, an old paper road map, yellowed and torn at the edges. The gas station wasn't on it. Neither was the road I had been driving on. I stepped outside quickly and got back into my car. As I started the engine, I glanced in the mirror. The gas station lights were off. Building was gone. There was nothing behind me but an empty stretch of road and darkness. My fuel tank was full. I drove until sunrise without stopping again. Later that day, I checked my route history. The GPS showed a straight, uninterrupted drive. No stops, no detours. But my receipt was still in my pocket. The ink had faded completely. I picked up a hitchhiker once. I don't usually tell people that. Even saying it now feels like admitting to something I shouldn't have done. It was late, the road was empty, and I was tired in a way that made bad decisions feel reasonable. I was driving through a long stretch of rural highway just after midnight. No towns, no rest stops, no lights except my headlights, and the occasional reflector flashing past. The radio had lost signal miles back, leaving only static, so I turned it off and drove in silence. That's when I saw him. He stood on the shoulder of the road just beyond the reach of my headlights. Tall, thin, wearing a dark jacket that blended into the night. One arm was raised, thumb out, perfectly still. I slowed down without thinking. As I pulled closer, something felt wrong. He didn't move at all. No shift of weight, no reaction to the sound of my car. Just stood there waiting, stopped. He walked to the passenger side and opened the door without asking. He climbed in quietly and shut it behind him. The inside of the car felt colder immediately. "Where are you headed?" I asked. He didn't answer. I told myself he might be nervous or tired or not speak English. I put the car back in drive and continued down the road. The silence stretched. I glanced at him occasionally, stared straight ahead, hands folded neatly in his lap. His face was pale, but not sickly, just drained of color, like it didn't belong under living skin. After a few minutes, I noticed something strange. His reflection wasn't showing up in the window. The glass reflected the dashboard lights, the road behind us, even my own face. But where his reflection should have been, there was nothing. I told myself it was the angle, the lighting, anything else. I turned the heater up. He didn't react. I tried again. "Do you need me to drop you somewhere specific?" Still nothing. As we drove, the road signs became familiar. Too familiar. I passed the same bent warning sign twice, and a third time. The same cluster of trees, the same shallow ditch. We were going in a loop. I slowed down, my heart pounding. "This isn't right," I muttered. The hitchhiker finally moved. He turned his head slowly toward me. Up close, his eyes were wrong, not empty, and not dark, just absent, like no one was looking back. "You missed it," he said softly. "Missed what?" I asked. "The place you were supposed to stop?" The road ahead disappeared. Not faded, not darkened. It was simply gone, replaced by empty blackness beyond my headlights. I slammed the brakes. The car stopped inches from nothing. When I looked to the passenger seat, it was empty. The door was still locked. The air felt warmer again. The road returned as suddenly as it had vanished. I drove the rest of the night without stopping. Years later, I learned something. There had been a fatal accident on that stretch of highway. A man hit while hitchhiking late at night. The report said he never spoke to the driver, just got in and waited. I never found where he was trying to go.